Allbirds sent me a pair of their all-wool shoes. I put them on. They were so white and breathable and comfortable. They didn't have any fancy logos on them. They just felt good on my feet, and they were nice. They looked good, and they felt good. Do you know why? Because the most comfortable shoes in the world are made of all wool. Even Time Magazine said that. And they've got a couple styles. They've got the Wool Runner, which is your go-to lace-up shoe for everywhere you go. It's flexible, supportive, and so light. They take you seamlessly through your entire day, whether you're at work or you're playing at night. And they also have the Wool Lounger. It's breathable, lightweight slip-on shoe that's perfect whether I'm traveling on a red-eye across the country or going to see a basketball game. The comfort, style, and sustainability do not have to be mutually exclusive. Allbirds is dedicated to making stylish, comfortable footwear that uses premium natural materials designed for life's everyday adventures. Allbirds textile is made from superfine New Zealand merino wool using fibers that are 20% the diameter of a human hair. So unlike the wool you may be used to, Allbirds' breathable fabric regulates temperature and moisture without any itch. The holidays are right around the corner. You should consider Allbirds for a gift for someone on your list or, better yet, yourself. They're available in a variety of colors and styles. Pick the perfect pair at allbirds.com.
Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in, center stage, on the mic, and we're putting it on wax.
We're Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
Give the people what they want.
The people are just 2 days away from getting what they want.
Yeah.
So excited for the trilogy, the first trilogy in the history of the National Basketball Association. The Warriors host the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's so close. It's so close, Jalen. What comes to your mind?
The first thing that comes to mind is the only matchup in the entire series that pits 2 former MVPs head to toe. That's LeBron James versus Kevin Durant. They've actually faced each other in the finals, for those that don't know.
Didn't last
in a
long.
Prior lifetime. When Kevin Durant was a member of the Thunder, he also was running with James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Now you fast forward, and you literally have LeBron James playing as well as he's ever played. And I always talk about the brilliance of LeBron James. He either dismantled his opponents or potential rivals in the Eastern Conference. In particular, the Pistons as they gotten older, though they had won a championship. The Celtics in their big 3 as they gotten older and they won the championship. Or frankly, disable. Hey, D-Wade. Me and Chris Bosh coming down there to try to learn some of that championship pedigree. So along with his dominance for a player in the modern era to make 7 straight NBA finals, it's really something to be said for a guy that's took 2 different teams to the finals 4 times. And so to have him against KD, a recent MVP, it's going to be great theater because they have to guard one another. When you look at it on paper, it's none of that like cross-matching, maybe put LeBron on JaVale McGee or Zaza.
So he can hide.
For everybody that really doesn't follow the game, I know you throw out there sometime that LeBron can guard all 5 positions. No, you can't. Okay, he's down low on Zaza. He's down low on JaVale McGee. He's going to get pounded. That's what happens when you play small forward in high school. Okay, he is now a power guard, as the Power Father would say in today's game. So to see he and KD mano a mano NBA Finals, and neither player has played better, neither team has performed better, and this is the 3rd year in a row. It's going to be great theater.
Can I just defuse something quick? Because I listen to and read and watch everything. If KD doesn't win the championship this year, then his move to Golden State was a failure. If LeBron doesn't win the championship year, then he will never be as good as Michael Jordan. It's like, you know what? These are 2 great players, and they're both going to be back in the finals again.
Well, let me take the low-hanging fruit first. Hit the brakes.
Okay.
If LeBron James win the championship, can we stop comparing him to Michael Jordan until he passed Magic? Until he passed Russell? Until he passed Kareem? Has that happened?
No, it has not happened.
Where
sir.
have I been?
It has not happened.
Like, I'm hearing all of these MJ conversations. I'm like, what about those other Mount Rushmore guys? Did he pass them?
No, he has not.
Okay, I don't remember that taking place. When he gets 11 and 13 like Russell, when he gets 5 like Magic, okay, when he gets 6 MVPs and 6 championships like Kareem, then come talk to me about MJ. MJ got some bodyguards on the chest, boy. He got a Rook, he got a Knight. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta get through that first.
No question.
You gotta get through that first.
No doubt.
And then there's also the flip side of it where it's if Kevin Durant, his move to Golden State was a failure if they don't win the finals. You mentioned that super team they formed in Miami, right? That first year, did they go to the finals?
They did.
Did they win?
They did not.
Was it a failure?
It was not.
Exactly.
And also, if we want to know how we got here, where there's 7 total All-Stars performing.
First time since 1983.
In the NBA Finals at the exact same time. You want to know how we got here? The modern day version of how we truly got here. Danny Ainge and Kevin McHale, former teammates with the Celtics, they had a big 3. It just so happened that one was an executive with Minnesota and the other one was with the Celtics. And they were on the golf course. She's like, you know what I'm going to do for you, my good friend? I'm going to give you Kevin Garnett.
If you sink this putt, I'll give you Kevin Garnett.
He was only averaging 20, 10, and 5 in Minnesota. I'm going to put him with Paul Pierce. And you know what? I'm going to do it so early that now Ray Allen's like, I need to come
I
on
go
with
somewhere.
them.
Might as well go with them.
That's when it happened. The same Ainge had to. They had the number 1 seed this year and got the number 1 pick this year and probably next year. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. And so that's when it started. And they had the nerve to beat LeBron. And then he had to go through all of this turbulence to finally have a mega game in number 6 and put up 40 plus and have to have the eyes of a demon to get past that team.
Mm-hmm. And we remember him taking off the jersey after that loss in Boston. He was like, I'm not coming back.
And you know what? He's like, I'm leaving Cleveland. Hey, D-Wade, let's do this. Pat Riley, like, I already laid it out. Miami Mafia, we've already done this.
The TJ's waiting for you.
No state taxes. I can make it work. And you know what they were on the stage saying? Not 5, not 6, not 7. LeBron is so shrewd, and remember where this started, that he left Wade and Bosh. Like, I'm about to go run with Kyrie and Kevin Love. And so that 7 did happen. But it only happened for LeBron.
Ooh, I like what you did there. And then you look at the other side of the coin, it's a very different way that Warriors have formed their team. They drafted, they developed not just the players, but they developed a winning culture. They developed a fun team. They're playing a fun brand of basketball with Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr. Pace, space, threes, passing, playing, fun. And you know what KD said? That looks like a good life to live. I'm going to join that. I know there will be blowback, but I'm doing it anyway.
But KD's still like, yo, they got a 2-time MVP. He's like, Steph, unanimous this year? Mm-hmm. You remember, I was the person saying KD would see Steph and say, I want my spot back in my Biggie voice. So he was really looking. Like, oh, okay, they won 73. I hope they lose this finals. Please let them lose. Please, I can't join them if they win.
No, if they win, that should be weird.
But if they lose, I could go run with them.
No problem.
And it ain't just KD. Because guess who else was on the plane in the Hamptons to go recruit him? Draymond, Iguodala.
Oh, Draymond was texting for like a year and a half.
No doubt about it.
Emojis, gifts.
And so that's how we got here. Okay? And you know what else? I absolutely love it. And it ain't going to just stop at 3.
It ain't. This is not just a trilogy. I cannot see another team breaking into this unless the Celtics make some very big moves. The Spurs make some very big offseason moves. But before we go all the way there, we are right here in the here and now. I am so excited. I am more excited for this NBA Finals than I have since the Celtics and Lakers. And where do they air?
On ABC.
And what's before the game, every game?
NBA Countdown.
And who's on NBA Countdown?
Michelle Beadle.
Yes.
Chauncey Billups.
Yes.
Special guest Paul Pierce.
Yes.
The
And
truth.
Jalen Rose. I'm so excited for the suits. I'm going to send you a text evaluating every single outfit, every single game.
It's prime
It's
time.
the game before the game.
Got to come correct.
ESPN Stats and Information Group is a great group. They provide me with most of the stats that I provide the audience with on this show.
And in full disclosure, they provide me with 100% of everything I say.
Exactly. And they've also got this group that crunch the numbers and come up with this thing called Basketball Power Index. Let me just explain it to you. It's a forward-thinking measure of team quality. It uses advanced statistical analysis to measure each team's offensive and defensive levels relative to an average team. There are a number of factors BPI takes into account, such as strength of opponent, pace, game location, and rest. According to ESPN BPI, the Cleveland Cavaliers have a 7% chance of winning the NBA Finals. What? I subscribe to analytics. I love analytics. But 7% chance, Jalen Rose? 7% chance out of 100?
The only way you could even imagine that is if LeBron James was going to miss the entire series.
He cut off his right hand or something.
And I don't like using any of these examples, but it's one of those things when you say it's a forward-thinking metric, it truly lends credence to all of the old-school basketball heads that make jokes, that snicker.
It does, yes.
When you talk about people that are in high positions, in particular in the NBA as decision makers, and are truly sold on being those that rely solely on the analytics.
It is absolutely foolish to hear the word analytics and immediately just discredit them. Oh, that doesn't, no. I know the game. I don't need those numbers. However, when I hear 7% chance for the Cavaliers to win the NBA title, I completely dismiss those
and
analytics.
It gives all individuals that have certain levels of experience as coaches, whether they played or not, clearly as players, people that have lived and breathed the game for so very long will continue to acknowledge their on-the-job experience trumps what you just described when you come with stats to say they only have a 7% chance to win a game. And they have Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Love playing
the numbers,
as well as they've ever played.
The numbers might say that, but if you ask anybody, even just a casual fan to the expert of the experts, what chance the Cleveland Cavaliers have to win the NBA Finals, I don't think you'll get a single number lower than 25.
And that's why, I probably won't be able to grace the world with the cure for cancer or a great invention.
Don't sell yourself short.
I am the person that's sitting in the room sometime, and I'm sitting next to Einstein, and he like E equals MC squared. I'm like, you know what? It equals MC5.
Yeah, and first of all, you probably won't cure cancer, but you will come up with a great invention. You will. You'll come up with, the George Foreman grill. You'll make one shaped like a lobster or something. Don't sell yourself short. You have one great invention in you, Jalen, and you got a lot of life left to lead, all right? So let's rescind that statement. But it is this question of underdog versus over. Remember, Kevin Love was like, what do you mean? We're the defending champs. How are we the underdogs? Steve Kerr was asked about that, and here's what he had to say. Quote, I saw the quote from Kevin Love.
He's going to put it right back on them.
He said he's surprised. I'm surprised, too. What the hell is everyone talking about? Are you kidding me? They're a great team. They're the champs. We're trying to take what they took from us last year. Are you surprised that Steve Kerr is flipping it back over?
I'm happy Kerr got a chance to coach his team in practice. I hope, and again, it doesn't have to be Willis Reed-esque, but I'm truly hoping that not only for fans and media and the audience, but in particular his team, that he gets an opportunity to coach during this finals.
I hope he will as well.
And so what he's basically saying is actually more accurate than the line in Vegas.
That's fair.
Because what ends up happening is you can say somebody's better than me, but if I beat them, I discredit what you feel.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you mean the Warriors are better than the Cavs? Well, last time we did the 7-game series, we won. So,
and that's the great thing about being an athlete or being a competitor. It doesn't even have to be sports. And whatever you compete in, there are times you beat people that are more talented,
of course,
that are actually better than you.
Of course.
It happens.
Of course.
And so the Cleveland Cavaliers are clearly the heavyweight champ. They walk into the ring with LeBron James that has the belt around his waist. And the only way that they're going to lose it is if one of the people from the Golden State Warriors knock him out.
Exactly. And so, when they walk in the ring, Bone Thugs and Harmony leads them in, just so you know. I
love that. And so now you have two teams that, the Golden State Warriors are 12-0 and the Cavs are 12-1, and they added KD. And, a lot of what a betting line is basically people taking what they feel are their best odds to make money, not necessarily who's even going to win or lose the game. And so for that to take place, again, when you talk to Kevin Love about it, how they overlooking us?
We're the champs.
But when you talk to Steve Kerr about it, a 5-time champion as a player, a champion as a coach, they're right.
Yeah. We're probably going to lose because you can't go into your locker room and say, oh, yeah, we got this wrapped up. LeBron's coming to town. No big deal. We got this wrapped.
So let me get this right. And this is how the media and fans view sports. You shape narratives. And we basically did 3 things you're going to hear people do. 1, talk about the effect on KD. 2, how the Cavs only have a 7% chance to win.
It's insane.
And 3, who's the favorite or the underdog? And so those become the storylines that people are going to attach themselves to as the series progresses.
Take us behind the curtain. You mentioned that Steve Kerr was in practice, and there is this 6 days of preparation, which I think will make for a better series. Take us behind the curtain. What is happening in these practices?
Practice a day, take a day off. Practice 2 days, take a day off. But ultimately, what you're able to
Hold
do...
up. There are off days? You think there are off days for these teams?
Off days meaning it's not physical.
Okay.
Because you're not banging. It's almost like you show up, maybe watch film, get treatment.
Yeah. You never tie your laces.
Use the facilities, and let me tell you guys another thing. To get out of the house. Like, there has to be a bunker mentality that sometimes you laying around in your multi-million-dollar house, and the wife and kids or your girlfriend, significant other, everybody in the house type of thing, and you checking your phone all day, and you fall back into a sense of normalcy with the remote control in your hand and grabbing the refrigerator every 15 minutes. You're like, hold on. I need to stay in my routine.
The biggest game of my career is 3 days from now.
So you almost want to keep yourself trained, literally, to stay in that mentality that I'm getting up, and even if I'm not, banging with even though the team isn't banging or playing keeping score per se, you may go to the gym, do shooting drills, do your ball handling, do some handling full court, between the legs, behind the back. You got a couple of the best ball handling players in the whole game in this series, and Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. And for anybody that loves basketball, watch how these guys finish at the hoop. Jump off both feet, finish with both hands, and neither one are leapers. It's all touch. It's all repetition. And so I'm excited, enthusiastic to see some excellent basketball by the 2 best teams in the game.
Do you think it's possible that the Warriors and or the Cavaliers have saved some strategic wrinkles for this series?
Here's where the strategic wrinkles happen. I know what you do. You know what I do. It's just like a prize fight. You ain't all of a sudden going to now switch your style.
Go southpaw.
It's not going down like that. But here's what does happen. Little wrinkles. So it's like, okay, we were running a baseline out-of-bound play like this. When they have certain defender in the play, let's run it like that. Or when certain individuals has a hot hand or we want to get going, let's run it that way. Same with sideline. Same with quick triggers. These are the things that you try to implement that you can throw in when your guys are smart. They have cohesion. They can adjust on the fly, and you got a couple of days to practice. But it's not going to be much change for these 2 teams that are truly familiar with each other.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We're talking about baseball. Does that mean someone got in a fight? That's kind of how it works.
Correct.
This early in the season, if we're talking about baseball, someone got in a fight, someone got a streak, someone broke a record.
Or the Yankees or Red Sox are really good.
Exactly. The Yankees have been playing well lately. Bryce Harper got hit by a Hunter Strickland pitch. Hunter Strickland, basically, Bryce Harper hit some home runs off him back in the day, and he looked at him, and the unwritten rules of baseball work. Hit him in the ribs. Bryce Harper charged the mound. I have a lot of questions for you about this. But the first question I have is, Bryce Harper takes off his helmet and throws it extremely hard, but nowhere near Hunter Strickland. If your job is to throw things accurately, why did he do such a poor job throwing his helmet?
I truly think in his anger that he had every intention to actually throw that at him.
I think so too.
But he got so enthusiastic that nobody was between him and the pitcher that he was thinking about his next move without completing his first move.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think he got a little too far ahead of himself. He's like, all right, I got this in my hand, but I also want to throw a punch with the same hand, so I can't follow through towards him and then cock right back again to throw a punch.
And I like friend of the show comparison, 50 Cent with the throw. Saw a couple of people use that example.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
I wasn't mad at that at all.
It was not very accurate from Bryce.
That's how I looked when he threw out his first pitch.
And then there was no one between him and the pitcher because my man, Buster Posey, the catcher, just kind of sat there like, oh, man. He just stood there. watched it all go down. Would you be upset with the catcher if you were the pitcher?
I'll be on my Busta Rhymes. Buster, what it is right now.
What it is right now? Isn't this what you do? You're the one wearing. You look like a medieval knight. You're head to toe in armor. What are you worried about?
And also, you were the guy when we were winning World Series, and the Giants, by the way, have done a terrific job of starting to craft what has become an elite organization in Major League Baseball, championship level. We need to start giving them more props to how they've performed over the last handful of years. But with that being said, I remember he was blocking the plate, and they changed the rule when he got injured.
Yeah.
So he probably like, you know what?
I don't need this.
I don't need this.
He had a nice quote. He was basically like, you see those big bodies bump each other around in there? He's like, they're hitting pretty hard. He's like, I'm not involved. He's like, my name is Bennett. I ain't in it. This is between you guys. You guys can have a square one. Go ahead and have a fair one.
And so, again, for Bryce, in the culture of that sport, I understand the response. I've always applauded the discipline as somebody that's carried a bat over the last handful of years. I would think that once you hit me with the ball, I'm coming with the bat.
It does make sense. It's like, so you're using a projectile weapon against me. I'm holding a weapon as well.
And it shows you how, and I use this example a lot with Metta World Peace when they got into their altercation at the Palace. It's almost like through your anger, while you may feel like you're acting and while you may feel like it's a moment of insanity, it clearly isn't if you think about putting down the bat.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I saw red, I blacked out. It's like, yeah, you saw pink. you saw pink and you grayed out because you did drop a weapon before you went to go fight somebody. So let's be honest, let's be real.
And by the way,
what's that?
Them punches, I mean, since we're talking about the fight, now you got to grade the punches. This from a man with a plate and 5 screws in his hand. So I'm not trying to punch anything. But with that being said, man, when you get a couple of shots to the jaw, you got to connect.
Here's the thing, fights in real life don't look like fights from television and movies. They just don't. You know what I mean? They're just sloppy. They go to the ground. Like if you watch a bar fight, they go to the ground. It looks like a bad UFC match. They just kind of get weird. And that fight didn't necessarily get me excited for McGregor Mayweather. But there is a wrinkle to this that I want to discuss with you. And it is.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
You've said this before, and I saw you put it on Twitter. You think there's a racial component with the way that certain leagues treat violence between their athletes and marijuana testing. Please explain.
So, again, when you've been an athlete for as long as I have and been around the game, you pay attention intimately to how different people approach you by what you do for a living. And as a basketball player and or as a football player, which sports just so happen to be predominantly black, I notice some distinct things that have always been head scratching to me as it related to not only Major League Baseball, but hockey as well. And we just touched on the first thing. It's that how violence is viewed in the NBA and the NFL. Oh, it's taboo to fight. But we're only talking about what happened in baseball because they were fighting. And other than the playoffs in hockey, that's the only reason we talk about it. That's the only reason why we talk about that sport as well. So it had me thinking a little deeper. If somebody graduates from high school and they want to play in the NFL or the NBA, what do they have to do first?
Sit out. Go to college. Can't go right into the league. That's crazy.
In baseball, I know they have a better minor league system, and I know about supplemental drafts.
You can get drafted and go to college.
But in theory, players have the flexibility to enter into Major League Baseball and or a farm system without those restraints. Then I started to think a little deeper. I'm like, the NFL and the NBA have salary caps. That doesn't exist in baseball.
Nope.
And I'm like, okay, what about the drug testing policy? What do NFL and NBA players get in trouble for a lot? Oh, marijuana.
Marijuana.
Okay. In baseball, they don't punish for it. In hockey, they don't punish for it. But you know what I'm going to see between now and September? NFL players being suspended because they're using marijuana. And so not to encourage it, and obviously you need to follow the rules of your job. And if your rules and if your job has certain restraints, whether it's your dress code, whether it's your appearance, whether it's drug testing, in order to keep your job, you do have to adhere to the policies. But those are distinct ones that had me just understanding that there are some unique parallels that have a racial overtone that I just can't ignore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we could argue about this forever because I don't think that it is only because of race that these policies are in place, but I do agree. It's part of it. It's part of it. It might not be the part of it that we write down in contracts and on papers and in the policies. It might not be part of it that we even recognize to ourselves. But when you do lay it out like that with the salary caps and the violence, and especially the marijuana testing, it is kind of like, maybe this is it. And in Major League Baseball, players are not tested for marijuana unless there's reasonable cause to suspect they are using it. Huh.
So in other words, you got to be Redman, Method Man, and Snoop all the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
In the dugout, in front of the commissioner.
Exactly. Don't go to the Redman Method Man concert and Snapchat it if you don't want to get tested if you're in the MLB.
And also, too, the level of fine money. You throw at somebody's head in baseball, I'm paying attention to the fines, like $75. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. You know how much a technical foul in the NBA costs? $2,500.
Just for a tech, any old tech?
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
What? Think about it. You could throw a baseball at somebody at 95 miles per hour and get a $75 fine. You get a technical foul in the NBA, it's $2,500.
That's rent.
What? And so, again, those parallels, a lot of people also think exist because baseball has a better union, which is true. You know why? It started from further along. When you're the player, you're going against when millionaires go against billionaires, guess who always win?
Billionaires.
So you inch forward every negotiation. Well, baseball was already so far along because of the same component that we're describing until somebody like Jackie Robinson came along.
You make a good point. Jalen Rose, as Steph Curry readies himself, mentally, physically prepares himself for the biggest series of his life, Ayesha Curry is at a food festival, dropping bars. Let's listen to Ayesha Curry's bars.
I got recipes, got a lot of recipes, got a lot of people trying to teach me I'm my expertise. They trying to take the seeds from a pepper.
Come on, y'all. Everybody clap.
Got a book in real life and I wrote it my way. 100 recipes, what we gon' cook today. I got spoons in the pot trying to stir up my stew. A bowl of berries and cake, we making fondue. I got 2 oven mitts so I never get burned. Forget the mother chefs, watch out now it's my turn. I got food groups that I gotta act like I like. Forget the truffle butter, garlic butter is nice, spice.
Bars. Here's why. Because she stayed true to what she was hoping to get accomplished.
Stayed on theme.
She was talking about food and cooking and stayed right there. It's almost like soundtracks used to mimic the movie. Now they don't anymore.
Not at all. Nothing to do with the movie. No.
And the other thing I like, husband in the back.
Yep.
Nodding his head.
And you got E40 as a hype man.
You come to root for me during the regular season and the postseason. Now, I'm going to fall back and allow you to have the stage. I love them as a couple. And the other thing, if she really want to flow, Mr. Fab, E40, ghost right for her.
Oh, she didn't need it. I thought she was fine. She felt natural. It did feel a little rehearsed. Like you could know the day before she was like in the mirror with the fake mic in her hand, like trying to memorize it, reading it. She was a little nervous when they started it, but I liked it. Shout to her.
And also for anybody that's gonna DJ when she has the mic, or even wanted to show her love, like almost we do the gotta give the people what they want at the beginning of our show. All y'all gotta do is pull out another bad creation. Ayesha!
Yeah!
Nobody brought that back yet?
You gotta bring that back. And also, you know what? Drop the music for her punchlines. You know what I mean? It makes everybody sound better. Yeah. I look forward to buying tickets to Ayesha Curry's next tour. There's a lot of, over the weekend, we don't talk about the balls too much because I think LeVar Ball just takes up so much space in the sports media world that like we don't need to give him more shine. But there was something that happened this weekend. His AAU team lost by 52 points. and they cut together like an over 2-minute low light mixtape of LaMelo Ball's poor performance. And I saw my man Nick Wright sort of bring this up, and it was a question that I wanted to ask you. Is it fair to criticize a 16-year-old over their basketball performance?
I started playing organized basketball when I was 10. It's absolutely okay. That's what comes with it. Mm-hmm. There are people in the stands watching. There are media covering it. Social media now exists. Everybody has a cell phone, and we report everything that takes place. Yeah. So it is fair game to criticize him as an athlete. Now, if you were talking about his academics or what he's doing in school as it relates to being tardy or absent or something that's personal, I think that that's going too far.
That's fair.
But if you're going to talk about something that thousands of people just witnessed and recorded, and it's sports, how do athletes get better? One of the ways, besides working hard on the floor, is watching film. Mm-hmm. And so the same film that you guys are watching, y'all don't think his father watching that with him?
Yeah, of course. And I also feel like, and this might be a twisted logic, that ultimately getting this level of criticism at this age will make him better. Because at some point, it's coming for you. At some point, the Twitterverse is going to turn on you. At some point, everybody's going to turn on you. And when it happens at this age, and you can kind of deal with it, synthesize it, digest it, and deal with it wrongly, and then learn what you did wrong, that ultimately this could be good for him. Because this sort of criticism, if you are going to play high-level sports, is never going to go away.
And none of us are beyond criticism. No. That's one of the most mature things you learn as you start to get older. And here's another thing to go with that. Sometimes your critics are right.
And that's how you get better, too.
And so for LeVar and for LaMelo, they have obviously Zoe, who's going to be a top pick in the draft. He's put in his work.
LiAngelo in between.
But you know what's going to happen once he gets back on the floor during NBA Summer League? We're going to cheer his great plays. We're going to break him down, and we're going to also show the time he had a turnover.
Of course.
We're going to show the shots that he missed. That all comes with it. And so when you're building what the LeVar Ball family feels like is a billion-dollar brand, I'm pretty sure, and I've seen his dad say this multiple times, that he's from South Central. And so now he's trying to show his kids that grew up in the suburbs.
Chino Hills, yeah.
That nobody's rooting for you.
They're rooting against you.
The world is actually rooting against you. There are only a handful of people in this world, for everybody that can hear my voice, that actually care about your personal best interest over theirs.
When he scored 92 points or whatever it is in that game, what do people say? Oh, he was basket hanging. And I promise you there are more views on this video of him failing than there are of the video of him scoring 92 points.
Because negative news becomes the headline, and the actual story is in a smaller font. And so I also saw people jousting. I don't even know if I used that term on this show, but it's perfect for this. What the head coach had to say to his team, for everybody that wants to take what LeVar Ball says, and if you think he goes to bed at night and feels like he can beat Michael Jordan in basketball, then something's wrong with you. That's actually your problem. Yep. You know what he's doing? I want everybody to Google somebody named Bundini Brown. You know what he's become for his kids? Is a hype man. And I say this respectfully. I've seen his kids on and off wax. They're not really outgoing. They're not really flamboyant. No. They're not loud. No. So you know what he's doing? He's talking for them. Mm-hmm. He's hyping for them.
It's like a manager for a wrestler.
Yeah. But you know what else he's doing? I'm still coming in as bodyguard with the S on my chest. You got to go through me still if you're going to get to them. And a lot of people were joking about the fact that he did a halftime speech and they were down 25, and then they ended up losing by 52. My challenge to everybody out there, by the way, he is a trainer and works out a lot of kids. One of them is about to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft who happens to be his son. But what I would say is, how much time or energy are you sacrificing giving back to the kids in the community? Because those other kids on the roster, those ain't his kids.
No.
And you know what I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm almost sure that he may happen? As somebody that knows about the AAU circuit, lived it, loved it, and always stick my chest out and defend it when people take shots at it. He made sure they had uniforms. He made sure they had shoes. I bet they had a nice place to stay. I bet he's exposing them to things that a lot of those kids would never have gotten exposed to. So don't just look at sports as the score of the game. Always pay attention to the game of life. And I applaud the fact that he's sacrificing for kids that aren't last name Ball.
Blue Moon is brewed with Valencia orange peel and a touch of coriander. It's a creative twist on a Belgian-style wheat ale for a taste that shines brighter. Taste responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Uh-oh. We have an announcement. I support justice and righting wrongs. You know what I mean? Like, when I see there's something wrong with the world, I do what I can to make it right. Jalen Rose, you were not in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. They had multiple inductees year after year. They have a dozen people they put in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. I understand why you're not in the Basketball Hall of Fame, okay? You don't deserve that. Let's be honest. Let's be real. But the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, what university did you go to?
Michigan.
Which state championships did you win?
Detroit Southwestern, we won 3 city, 3 PSL, 2 state, and 1 national championship.
What state was that?
The state of Michigan, the city is Detroit.
Okay. I feel like that alone, regardless of your NBA career, which was 13 seasons long, would put you in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. I noticed that you weren't there. So what did I do, Jalen Rose? One of my favorite things to do.
Wrote a sternly worded email to the powers that be.
And guess what happens when you write strongly worded emails, Jalen? People listen. I am here to announce to you and the world that you are going to be inducted in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame this year.
Thank you.
Do you really not know this? This is happening.
I'm in the Detroit Hall of Fame. Now I'm in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame.
You're along with Mitch Albom, Greg Campy, John Jansen, Jim Leland, Dean Look, Andre Rison, Dennis Rodman.
Oh, you know what I need to start doing? I need to start preparing my Michael Jordan speech.
Rose. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to this speech. I'm so excited. The ceremony is going to be held on September 15th. I'm going. I'm going to be there. Yep. In support of my brother being inducted into the Michigan
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Hall of Fame.
I am humbled that they accept me.
Of course.
In the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. But you know, I can't front. If I had to choose, I'm way more enthusiastic, probably because it's happening right now, and proud of the work that we're doing at JRLA.
Of course. I think that's part of it.
It has nothing to do with sports.
That's part of it. You know what I mean? Without your athletic achievements, you wouldn't be able to make these educational achievements possible for the students of Jalen Rose Leadership Academy. It's all tied together. It's all tied together. Yeah. And that is why you're such a great role model.
Thank you.
And leader. And why you're deserving of these honors, which I know you. You're humble. You don't want to talk about yourself too much. You don't want to celebrate your life. You're not going to write your own strongly worded email to the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. That's why you need your brother to do it for you.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you. And I look forward to attending and having adult beverages afterwards.
Absolutely. And I want to thank any of my teammates, coaches, people that mentored me, inspired me, gave me vision, that rebounded for me, that told me that I could, that told me that I couldn't, that teased me when I stunk, that cheered for me when I did well.
I just love that you didn't say, like, finished my passes for assists. You said rebounded my misses. You're like, people that rebounded for me because I missed a lot of shots.
Because I was
putting them up.
And also, that's one of those things that's one of those no guts, no glory thing. Because that means that's one person shooting and somebody else rebounding.
Yeah.
Like when you get an assist, somebody gets a bucket.
Yeah. I'm very proud of you, and this is an honor, and you should be celebrated appropriately. I think this is exciting.
I'm really humbled. Thank you.
So I saved this story to tell you on wax because I wanted to get your genuine response. It's no big deal. Don't give me that scared face. I can see your face right now.
I'm like, it's a lot happening on today's show.
Don't worry. Don't worry, Mr. Rose. This is light work, okay? Going into this, light work. Something happened to me recently that's completely changed the way I look at a sport. You know me, I don't go to the doctor. I'm not a doctor guy. Some people go to the doctor a lot. I don't go to the doctor a lot. I don't really take pills. Like, even if I get a headache, whatever, I don't really do that. I went to the doctor yesterday. I had a headache for like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like just days in a row, a dull headache. As I speak to you right now, I have a very dull headache going on. I had trouble looking at screens. I used to read my phone for hours at a time. And now it's like going underwater. I have to read my screen for a second and then look away. It's like, and take a breath and then go back to it. It's like, it's scary. And I don't go to the doctor. And my wife is like, dude, you gotta go to the doctor. You had a headache for 5 days in a row. You had to go to the doctor. I go to the doctor. I've been diagnosed with PCS, post-concussion syndrome. Do you remember me telling you that I got hit in the head with a basketball really hard about 2 or 3 weeks ago? I have post-concussion syndrome. I can't look at screens. I am fatigued. I'm irritable. And I've got this headache will not go away. It has been 6 or 7 days. It's going to be fine. Like, it eventually it'll go away. But I've always looked at concussions, having had many in my past, as something like light work, 2 or 3 days, get back on the court. Or when someone gets a concussion in the NFL on Sunday, I'm like, oh, they'll be playing next week. It'll be fine. You can get rid of a concussion in a week. And this experience that I've had and done more research into this condition has completely changed the way I look at football and the way I look at concussions in sports. Like, this is not just like a quick injury that you can get over. This is your brain, the most important organ in your body. Probably your heart might take that, but whatever. Yeah. One of the most important organs in your body. And not only has it changed the way that I look at professional football, is I don't think I want my son to play football. Post-concussion syndrome is something that happens. You are more susceptible for it to happen to you if you have had previous concussions. I had a very bad concussion playing rec league basketball like 10 years ago. Landed on my head. I was convulsing on the ground, and I didn't know what year it was or where I was or whatever. The CT scan, the whole thing. So this is something that's been happening to me for the last couple of weeks, and I didn't know what was going on. I went in there, and now I know about this thing, and it makes me think about like Andrew Bogut. Who said this year he had concussions, and he was like, this is a serious thing. Like, and I think there's like a weakness to it. You don't want to admit that this is a problem for you. It doesn't feel tough. That you're kind of embarrassed. Like, oh, I got hit in the head with a basketball. Like, dude, a basketball, like boxers get punched in the face all day, every day, and they don't feel this way. Like, this is something that has changed my perception of concussions in sports. Like, this is a very serious thing. Like, it could last for months, the doctor said. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, as my brother, I'm rooting for you to get well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you showed the humility and you had the support of your lovely wife to actually go get diagnosed. Mm-hmm. That's something not only as athletes, but as men. We grew up in a society where it's a noise downstairs, or you go get it. Or it's a dark alley, or you go down there. Like, we're thought to be invincible, and in our heads and hearts sometimes there's parts of us that actually believe it.
And you also don't want to show weakness. You know what I mean? Especially because I got hit in the head with a ball. It's not like I got punched in the head. It's not tough. I went in a car accident, got a concussion. It's like hit in the head with a basketball. Like, it's not that serious.
And you make me think back to when you talked about the first time you actually felt like you had the condition. There was a time, and it's shown in the Fab 5 doc, where I was clotheslined and landed on the back of my head, was unconscious, went into convulsions, got carried off on a stretcher. The 5 steps between the gym and a Detroit winter and the ambulance is when I hit the cold air and I opened my eyes. There was my mother in the ambulance with me. Rose. And so I stayed at the hospital for a day and a half. I was stiff. There was a night that I went to bed like, am I going to be able to play basketball again?
Am I going to be able to think again? Am I going to be dumb forever now?
And the word concussion, this was 1988.
Oh, you got knocked out.
Never was spoken.
And because of that incident in 1988, you are now like very much more susceptible to these post-concussion syndrome symptoms later in life.
And also what you also made me realize, and I'm pretty sure anybody that's been around me or saw me on television or heard me speak, now you realize why I say some crazy stuff.
Of course. And this is basically me just making a big excuse for why I haven't been that good on the show the last couple of weeks. That's what it comes down to. Can't look at
So
screens
whenever
that
you think
long.
I'm tripping, it's because I got a concussion.
Exactly. Then now we've got a scapegoat. You're listening to the leading concussioned hosts in the history of sports media.
Yes.
Jalen Jacoby.
We have convulsions on courts
on ESPN
in common.
Radio. Steph gave up the game-winning three-pointer to Kyrie Irving last year, and he spoke about it. Quote, "You could tell that's a shot he worked on. I was right there, tried not to foul. I stayed in front and contested. He just made an amazing shot. You have to give him credit. There's nothing I'd do differently on that play."
Kai get money on that right wing, especially late in the game. You got to run him off of that shot. That's on the scouting report with exclamations.
It was a good contest. It was a good contest.
You can pull up about 5 different plays over the last couple of years. He boogies and gets on that right wing, and he going to make that jump shot for 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of the things that when you're going against the best players in the world, you hope to play the percentages and run him off of that spot. And for a player, I normally watch their landing. It's a tougher shot when they scissor kick their leg.
Yep.
When it's something they don't normally do. And Kai doesn't always do that. That means you getting that last inch of follow through.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was good D, but it was the series for Steph that they were going to try to take advantage of him on the defensive end. That's what the game is all about.
They replayed Game 7 on NBA TV over this Memorial Day weekend, and I locked in and watched it. And there were so many takeaways that I had forgotten. There was so much I forgot. Number one takeaway was this. Everybody was gassed. Everybody was gassed at the end of Game 7. Every single player out there, you could tell, was exhausted. There were so many more missed shots and opportunities than there were made shots and opportunities, especially by Steph Curry. You remember, he hit Jerry West, trying to knock him out, as you like to say. He airballed a 3. There was the Kevin Love stop, not just once, but twice when Kevin Love stopped him. And then there was this that I seem to have forgotten. The behind-the-back pass to Klay Thompson that went out of bounds. Here's what he said about that exact play, quote, "In thinking about that game, it's funny because I know the concept of making the right play, making a simple play, understanding that there are deciding moments in games, and the difference between winning a championship or not could be one of those plays."
I want to teach everyone something that's going to pull that piece of footage and use it in isolation. Your basic bounce pass is what Steph Curry's left-handed behind-the-back pass is.
Yeah, no, his left-handed behind-the-back pass is better than everyone listening to this basic bounce pass.
So I don't want him to behave any different.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to see him complete the play. And a lot of times between the team that loses and wins is you're able to just execute things that you normally do and do well. And so if you're a Warriors fan, you want that same level of aggression. You want him to continue to use his basketball personality.
Yep.
And so for Steph, going against Kyrie, I'm so enthusiastic to watch both of those guys play, to the point where the thing that you left off when you were talking about them is they're the second leading scorers on their own teams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And second in assists. So for both of those guys, they do it different. Kyrie does it in isolation.
Yes.
One-on-one, boogie, oogie, oogie.
Get to the rim, take the help, go over the help, around the help, and score.
No question. An elite finisher. Coach Collins called him a few years ago layup king.
He is. He's the best finisher around the rim in the game that's under 7 feet tall.
Jumps off of both feet, finishes with both hands.
Angles.
Twists and twirls.
Takes contact.
And Steph Curry, while he can do a lot of what I just said about Kai, I'm just going to talk about what makes him different. He can get off the ball. And all of a sudden, he go get in those single doubles. He can go get in those flare actions. He doesn't necessarily need the basketball per se to put up big points because we know he has unlimited range. And he gets going in flurries as well as anybody that we've seen recently. And so to watch those two guys, it's going to be great theater. It truly is.
Another thing that was just so obvious watching that game again was the Cleveland Cavaliers offense in the fourth quarter of Game 7 was simply this. Whoever their worst defender is, have them guard the ball when they switch on a pick and roll. They did it over and over and over again. There's a sequence of like 4 possessions in a row when Festus Ezeli was guarding LeBron James and he went right to the hole. It was glaring. Do you think the Cavaliers will use this again?
They're going to use it again, but the difference is Festus Ezeli won't be out there to be Kevin Durant.
It could be Zaza. You got Zaza out there starting the game.
Not ending the game. You said in the fourth quarter. You know what Zaza going to be? He going to be with us watching. He might as well get some popcorn and some nachos. He going to be watching. The only way he going to be in the game is Tristan dominating the boards. That's the only way he going to be a game. Or if Draymond Green in foul trouble. That's it. Those the only. Or if JaVale McGee turning to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those the only three ways. And so those switches happen, and a lot of people say, why are they switching? Why are they switching?
Yes, I was wondering the same thing. Explain to me, why are they switching?
It's an action more so than a reaction. When you have LeBron James or Kyrie Irving and they're coming off a pick and roll situation, you don't want to always overreact to the point where you're flooding to the ball at 20 seconds on the clock, and all of a sudden he throwing it back to the other guy that is not in the action, and then they swinging it to somebody else and they getting an open three.
Wide open three.
With 15 seconds to go on the clock. And so the other thing is certain guys are good screeners. Tristan Thompson,
good point.
Draymond Green, they actually pick. And you know
NBA
what happens?
Screens too. Different
if
from
you've
pickup
ever
screens.
gotten, if for anybody out there that's ever played basketball, yeah, you see a few guys able to fight over consistently, but even they get clipped.
Look at Al Horford in the one game the Celtics won in that final play. Like, that was not a legal screen, but they're not going to call that.
And so you now have to have film study and or understand the scouting report of everybody that's going to be on the ball. So when you're Festus Ezeli, and I'm using him as an example because you brought up, you're thinking in your head, and I know the play you're talking about.
Multiple
It's two
plays.
of them. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk you through two of them, and I haven't even watched the game since that day. He was on the left wing, and you got to be thinking either worst case scenario, he drives left and I get help, or I'm going to make him shoot a long three. The problem is LeBron made two long threes.
That is the problem. You cannot go under a screen with LeBron James ever since like 3 years ago.
And so now when he makes those two threes, guess what happens?
Switch,
you at his mercy.
and then he goes to the ball. And then he goes to the hoop. And the next thing you know, Festus Ezeli's out the game.
You at his mercy.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
You're going against great players, and you have 7 All-Stars in this series.
Do you expect the Cavaliers to employ this similar type of offense? Pick and roll, isolation, pick and roll, isolation.
Both teams going to be doing it. Because the brilliance of Kevin Durant is he can play the pace and space, but he can also play the boxes and elbows. Throw it to me. Nope. Throw it to me at the elbow, live dribble, jab step, one dribble, hit you with my shoulder, jump shot in the paint. Get the ball, jab step, pump fake, drive to the hole, and dunk over everybody. And so because he is that prolific of a scorer, you can't just only employ the ideology that when you're the Houston Rockets, because you don't have a guy like that. No, you allow him to break down a defense. And so they will be able to isolate each other to try to take advantage of matchups. Because here's two people I want you to watch on D. Kyrie and Love. Because the way they were going at Curry last year, that's how they're going to be going at them this year.
Yep.
Remember, Kevin Love wasn't in the game. Yes, we talk about those last couple of stops he had on Steph.
Yeah, exactly.
But against the Raptors, he got benched. This is a new player. He's an awesome. What's different about this series? Everybody's better.
And there's this.
The teams are better. The individual players are better.
Here's the thing. The Warriors added Durant. The Cavs added Kevin Love.
Correct.
That's basically what happened. In the conference finals, he averaged 22.6 games. Like you said, last year, conference finals, benched. 22.6 points a game, 12.4 rebounds, 53% from three. This is a completely different Kevin Love, which doesn't counterbalance a former MVP, one of the top 5 players in the world, Kevin Durant, but it is a new wrinkle for the Cavs.
Which also lends to another matchup that we haven't discussed. And yes, you mentioned Klay locking down on D, and he's going to guard Kyrie a lot, and J.R. Smith is going to have that half where he makes 5 threes.
Sure.
But Kevin Love and Draymond Green, if everybody does what I expect them to do this series, the person that dominates that matchup wins the trophy.
I am Here is my concern if I'm a Warriors fan, is that Kevin Love is going to be hitting threes to the point where Draymond can't do what Draymond does in defense, which is create chaos, slap the ball away from people, help defend, not foul, contest shots, get the own rebound, outlet it. Is because if he has to cover Kevin Love out in the corner or wherever they have him, that opens it up for LeBron and Kyrie to go
You
down
have
the middle.
bench wild cards. Yeah. Kyle Korver may be a guy to come in and get you a handful of threes in a game. You got Andre Iguodala, who's been a Finals MVP.
Yep.
We know about the mid-range Maven, Sean Livingston, trying to take advantage of his height.
Sean Livingston dominated last year. Like, Sean Livingston was the story after game one. He dominated.
They might try to sneak a Channing Frye in there. A Richard Jefferson is going to always get. What is Richard Jefferson going to get when he gets in?
You saw him do it in the closeout game against the Celtics. He had one dunk and 1 3. He did it in the closeout game against the Celtics. I'm so excited for the NBA Finals. Now we open up the hotline. 985-80-JALEN. You call, leave us a message, we play it. Tomorrow is Woman Crush Wednesday. So ladies, call 985-80-JALEN. Leave us voicemails. We'll play it on the show tomorrow. Just like this.
What's up, guys? This is L-Dog from Albuquerque. I work in an elementary school, and I have a soft move or boss move question for you guys. We just had the teachers versus fifth graders kickball game. We gave the kids 7 outs an inning, and we just dominated them. 20-0. Soft move or boss move, not letting the kids score a single run. Let me know. Peace.
Boss move.
Soft move. Come on now. They're first graders. They're like 6 years old. Come on now. You don't got to let them win.
My godfather told me this, and it's true. There was an era when the adults could basically push you, encourage you, and those punches almost were like they came from brass knuckles. Now, fur gloves.
Yeah, that's fine. There's a lot of things change over time for the better, Jalen Rose. A lot of things change over time for the better and evolve.
Not this.
This has changed over the time for the better and evolve. Look, you don't have to let them win, but not letting them score. And was this kickball where you could throw the ball at the kids? Is that we're playing that style? If we're playing that style, come on now. You can't go 100%. Can't be. You don't be throwing the ball at my kid's head.
Some of the best things that happened to me being a youngster at the court, also playing pick 'em up, mess 'em up in football, playing 21 in basketball, playing king of the court, playing street football when nobody has insurance and the yard ain't even clearly paved and dudes jumping from behind the trees sticking you when you think you got a long touchdown grab. You know, the best thing that happened to me was those days I went home crying, trying to figure out how I was going to get it done. Not the times when I felt like I was Deion shining.
That's fair. That's fair.
LT getting sacks all of the time.
20-0, Jalen.
Let me tell you something. I was playing street football, and I was playing pick 'em up, mess 'em up. And there was a portion where I was on 12th and Gladstone, my old apartment. And so there was a portion where you play touch in the street and tackle on the grass.
Okay, that's fair.
So you want to try to create more space type of thing. I was between the concrete and the grass, trying to be cute. You know what I mean? Like, oh, maybe they're going to just two-hand touch me. And so I got stuck and fell on the concrete, cracked and chipped my front 2 teeth. And you know when I went to dentist? You know when I went to the dentist? After I shook David Stern's hand. What? Like 15 years later. So nah, boss move.
Soft move. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hello, this message is for Jacoby. I am not a human. I am a kangaroo. And I have a message on behalf of all the kangaroos. You better shut your mouth if you know what's good for you.
I understand. But here's the thing. I'm on the forefront of accepting our future kangaroo overlords. You know what I mean? So I should be the last person that you should be threatening as our future rulers of this planet. You know what I mean? I am the first person to recognize you as the supreme beings that you are.
True story.
The organization that you have started, that you are rebuilding your army in Australia, soon to spread throughout
most authority.
The world.
You're the Jacques Cousteau of the kangaroo revolution.
Shout out.
Who's Jacques Cousteau?
I'm dropping them today. I need more days
Do you know
off.
who Jacques Cousteau is?
I do. Do you know who it is?
I used to watch Jacques Cousteau like every Sunday.
Okay, cool.
That was my dude. Google Jacques Cousteau if you don't know. One of my favorite Jacques out there. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Don't get fired.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby, it's Kaylee from Ohio. Jalen, I don't know if you know this, but on 2K17, you can buy, your clothing and stuff. And if you go into, they have like Hall of Fame jerseys. Second to last, they had your jersey, so I bought it for 5,000 virtual credits. So soft move or boss move. Buying your Indiana Pacers jersey so everyone knows I'm coming for their ankles. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you for the love. The backhanded compliment almost made me take away what I'm about to say.
Oh, why?
But I'm going to say it anyway because I know you love me and you love the show. And, sometimes jokes just fall flat. And the last part,
You can be mean if you're funny. That wasn't funny enough.
Correct. But I love you enough to say this. Here's the boss move. You make sure you send us that jersey, and I'm going to sign it for you.
Let me explain something to you.
But it's on a video game.
It doesn't physically exist.
No, so here's what you do. You get a jersey, a Pacer jersey. You get what at Jalen and Jacoby. DM your information. I'm going to sign it and send it back to you.
There you go.
Because we appreciate the support.
I don't know what the conversion rate is between, credits and 2K to American dollars, but 5,000 seems expensive. That's all I got to say. 5,000 seems expensive for Jalen Rose. And she said it was the Hall of Fame jerseys, too.
She says second to last.
That's fair. Who's last? Let's look that up. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Jalen Jacoby, what up? I'm Tarina from the Central Coast of Cali. Been a long-time listener. Hey, I got a question in regards to, first I want to give a shout-out to Jalen. His analysis has been spot on for years, and I don't think people are recognizing that. Jalen's got it down for real. So, first off, my question is in regards to the whole, will the Warriors, if they lose, it's a really big disappointment for them. Isn't going to the finals at any point in somebody's career always going to be a highlight? And don't they have a couple more years of running into the finals, maybe more years than LeBron or Cleveland does? So keeping them to people what they want. Thanks a lot.
You know what I support, Jalen Rose? I support second place as an accomplishment. I really do. I'm second place in our logo. I'm second place in our title. My rec league teams were always losing in the finals. My finals record is worse than any basketball player in the history. Like, second place is an accomplishment. If you lose in the finals, that's not a wash. When you and the Pacers lost in the finals, I'm sure you're very upset. But I bet like 5-6 months later, you're like, you know what? That was a good team. We had a good run.
Oh, and by the way, as a sophomore in high school, lost the state championship. Mm-hmm. As a freshman in college, lost the national championship.
Yeah.
As a sophomore in college, lost the national championship.
Shot second place.
2000, lost the NBA finals.
There's only one team better.
But that, again, it's how you navigate. And everybody wants to be on the big stage. And to make it there is an accomplishment. We're going to talk about LeBron making it to 8 NBA finals. That means he won 8 Eastern Conference championships. That truly means something. And so we appreciate the call. I appreciate the personal love that he said about dropping jewels for years.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about callers like that, we just got to keep giving the people what they want.
You got to give people what they want. You know what I mean? It might not say front of the New York Times every day, Jalen Rose, best analyst in the game, but we do it for the people that recognize it, the people that listen to Jalen Jacoby.
And I hope that he likes the fact that we don't take ourselves too serious, which means it allows us not to take these things that we talk about as sports personal. A lot of people blur the lines. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a great example. Anytime a player claps back at an analyst, here's what that analyst is going to do. Predicted that player's team is going to win the championship, and that player is going to win MVP. You know why? So you can never say, I was really hating, but I am kind of hating, because I'm going to put the bar so high that when you don't when you don't get there, then I can be like, I said you was going to win it all.
Yeah, I was supporting
I picked you to win it all.
It's your fault that you didn't live up to the expectations that I set for you.
I saw that happen. I truly started to pay attention to that with one athlete, Barry Bonds. I was like, okay, I get it. It ain't like he playing left field for the Yankees. Because guess what? He would definitely have a few World Series if he did. So people were like, oh, you know what, Barry? Even though you're breaking all kind of intentional walk records and home run records and hitting for average, it was the original 40 for 40
Didn't walk with
guy.
the bases loaded.
And so it was like, oh, the Giants going to win the Giants going to win a World Series. Bonds going to win MVP. So then if he didn't do it, I picked you. But what about the lounge chair you got in the clubhouse? Why is it facing the other way? Why are you not being a good teammate?
You had a lounge chair in the clubhouse? I need a lounge chair in the studio.
He had a
I'm gonna
recliner.
face it the other way.
He had a recliner.
Recliner's overrated. We can talk about that another time.
Not if they massage.
We have a motto on this show. It is... Part of giving the people what they want is opening up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed and taking questions from you, our listeners, giving the people what they want. First question that we have is from AK. Always sends us questions. If Power and the NBA Finals were on at the same time, would Jalen Rose go missing from the countdown set like Derrick Rose?
I'll be watching Power.
If it was on at the same time of the NBA Finals.
I will be sitting on the set, watching the game from the arena and watching Power on my phone 100%.
That's how it would be. And you would do NBA countdown.
I'm not going to even
You'd just be looking down when you weren't talking. You'd just be looking down when you weren't talking and be like, yeah, LeBron's had a great game. Anyway, let's see what Ghost is doing.
Correct.
Father has this question. Thanks, Dad. Over under 2.5 games that LeBron brings back the headband in the finals.
Here's the evolution of the headband for LeBron. He had the skinny headband, and he had the 3-for-1 headband. Mm-hmm. And then he did something that we're not sure what he did, but in his commercials, the hairline looked a lot different than after practice.
It looks great.
You know, sometimes it almost looks like he goes to practice, and then after practice, for those old enough, I know people know about do-rags, but I'm old enough to remember stocking caps.
Okay.
And so it almost like the great thing that he has on his head is a version of both. And so will he bring back the headband? No. Because he's trying to hang on to his line as long as possible.
Remember in the finals when the headband got knocked off and then all of a sudden he just turned it on and went like 6 for 6 from the field? The headband is over. But do you think they will wear those ugly Cleveland black sleeve jerseys?
Those are the jerseys they won Game 7 in.
I know. They also won Game 5
Those are the jerseys where Kyrie and LeBron both have 40 in. Mm-hmm. They're bringing them out.
They are bringing them out. They're so ugly, though. That big, gigantic C on the chest just looks weird.
To them, that stands for champion.
It just looks weird. You know what? They're going to wear them Game 1, but they're going to look funny in them. They're not excited about it, but they have to. You can't win Game 5 and then win Game 7 and then go back to the same place and not wear them again. You have to. Yep. Interesting to see if the Warriors switch up their jersey choice. I believe they were in the blue last time. No, I think they were in white. Whatever. PG, boss move or soft move, Harper's helmet throw.
Soft move. Because of the execution. Not because of the intention.
See, here's what David Jacoby does. Not to condone violence, as we always say. If I'm going to take the helmet off, which is questionable in the first place, because you are going to get in a fight, you got a helmet on, might as well keep it on, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to use the helmet with a light toss towards my opponent, forcing my opponent to use their hands to then block that floating helmet and slip a punch. That's my move. Slip a punch using the helmet.
That goes over well in movies.
What do you mean? You don't think that my long history of winning fights has anything to do with that?
No, it's about the definition of insanity. Somebody hits you with a 90 mile an hour fastball. You think you dropped the bet. I don't want to get myself in too much trouble here.
Sure.
You run towards the mound. You throw the helmet to try to get the reaction that you just acknowledged, but that truly doesn't work because you can't understand the distance that it's going to take between when they block the helmet
and then when you get there
to try to throw a punch. So that dynamic is off. You're better off just rushing the person.
Form tackle, I think. I think form tackle is the way to go.
Try to get them on the ground,
exactly.
And then you go for the punch.
Because here's the thing.
With your helmet on.
As we saw, it's hard to really land good-looking punches. You're not going to knock anybody out when you're rushing the mound, but I think the smart thing to do would be like a form tackle because you know everyone else is coming in, so at least on wax, it looks like you came out the victor because you brought the other person to the ground.
But the only thing, though, when you go for that form tackle, that person gets a chance to do one thing that I used to love doing to people.
Knee you in the head?
Headlock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Nolan Ryan made this, Nolan Ryan.
And no matter how big or strong you are, Somebody get you in the right
Poor
headlock.
Robin Ventura. Like, how many years in the league? He's played baseball his whole life, made millions and millions of dollars, all-star teams, the accolades and awards. And what's he remembered for? Getting noogied by Nolan Ryan. That's too bad. Next we have, this is from, doesn't say. If the Lakers don't draft Lonzo and he goes to Phoenix, do you think that team will be better for him or worse? Huh.
I think if you're able to pair him with other talented individuals, he's going to be just fine, because the other thing that gets lost in the bluster of LeVar Ball, who I love and everybody knows that I do, he's Bundini Brown for his kids who really don't have big personalities, is Lonzo's style of play is still going to be inclusive to his teammates.
Yes.
It's not like he's going to come in and be a shoot first volume type of player, trying to take 20 shots and shoot 40%. Players are selfish. And you know what we really love? Somebody's going to make us better. Like, easy shots? Are you going to do all of the work, penetrate behind the back, push the ball?
If I make a back cut, all of a sudden the ball's right in my chest.
You're
going to
throw me a
call for it
lob
or anything? Sure.
No doubt.
Got that.
So regardless of what's being said about the things that have nothing to do with basketball, it won't affect him with his teammates because he's an unselfish player. So if you're able to pair him with Booker, a guy that had 70 in a game this year, I do like that better on paper than anybody you may pair him with currently on the Lakers roster.
Yep. I can forecast Brandon Minger in 2 years from now, but you know where that gets you. Another thing I just want to say real quick: LeVar Ball is never going to play a minute of NBA basketball.
He might.
He might check himself in.
Here's what I learned. Here's what he should do. Put it in the contract.
Yes.
Tony Romo had on the uniform. Yes. Y'all can do it.
If Tony Romo can play a uniform, then I can too.
And I'm putting it on wax. Don't sleep on Dirk wearing a football uniform on the sideline of a Cowboys game.
Finally, we have this question from Jeremy.
Had the Seahawks signed Colin Kaepernick yet?
They're about to. Hey, if you guys went to the same high school, would you be friends? Would you even cross paths?
100% yes.
No doubt. We
because
both on the
you
basketball
guys don't know. We met off wax before we met on wax.
Mm-hmm. Where was that? Bathroom of a gentleman's club. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and especially subscribing to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.